10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion.
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you. It is a busy day of Oregon events, a busy day of Oregon news, and a whole lot of preview coming your way from Mario Cristobal before the Ducks take on the Dogs this weekend in Seattle. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for being with us. Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, is going to join us because they've also got a rivalry matchup this week against the Beavers, final regular season game for Oregon soccer, and it comes at you Friday at 7 o'clock. We're going to talk about that, recap the rest of the weekend for Oregon athletics, including that big victory over Colorado as Oregon was dominant, holding steady at number 7 in all of the polls today, and some other news and notes around Oregon athletics. We begin with the big news. We have a kickoff time for you. Washington, 4:30. I love it. 4:30 on ABC. The Ducks will face Washington. That means a 2:30 pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network. Now, for a lot of fans, the not as fun news, though. And Scott Phillips is already sighing in my ear. I can just hear it from across the room. Washington State kickoff time has been set in 2 weeks for the Ducks against the Cougs on ESPN at 7:30. So Oregon against Washington, 4:30 on ABC this weekend. Next weekend, Washington State and the Ducks will meet at 7:30 on ESPN. Tell you what, selfishly, I ain't complaining because Oregon men's basketball plays SMU at 8 o'clock on Friday, so you get to go to that to Matthew Knight Arena, sleep in a little bit, and then you got Oregon basketball against the Cougs. The Ducks actually are going to put together and have put together an awesome ticket package for those of you who are going to be in town for football, because the Ducks for Oregon volleyball will play USC at 4 o'clock on that Friday. Then men's basketball plays at 8. Washington State in town to take on Oregon football at 7:30. And then we also have volleyball at noon on Sunday and women's basketball against Dixie State at 5 o'clock on Sunday. There's a ticket package you can find out more about on GoDucks.com. Less than $100 to go to all 5 of those events. If you're already in town, great opportunity to see some great Duck action here coming up next week. Devin asking, any idea what time the Utah game will be? Yeah, I don't know yet. I wish I did. That is one thing, and fans, I will say, just like putting on my fan hat for a second, which let's all be real, I'm basically just a paid fan. You know, that's kind of what I am. I do wish that we had kickoff times further in advance. I understand why it happens. You know, you want the best games in the primetime spots on the best networks. Totally get that from a TV perspective. And if I was a TV executive, I'd be saying the same thing. But as an Oregon fan, I would like to be able to plan a little bit more and further in advance. So I get it, Devin. I'm right there with you. When we have that kickoff time, that'll, of course, be the big news, and we'll start the show with that, just like we did telling you Washington, 4:30 on ABC for the Ducks this weekend, and Washington State set for 7:30 on ESPN in a couple weeks when the Ducks make their return to Autzen Stadium. Tobias and Joey, I'm buying the mini plan for Oregon men's basketball. Which 4 games do I attend? I can't choose. Oh, man. That's a good question, Tobias. Tobias, you're going to have to confirm with me. So does the mini plan allow you to pick any 4 games? Is it just conference games? It depends on your mini plan of your choice. But I will tell you that the matchup with Baylor, anytime you get the defending national champions in town, that's happening in December, I'd go to that game. I would go to that game. Oregon men's basketball, it's just around the corner. 8 days from now, the Ducks with a 4 o'clock tip-off scheduled against Texas Southern. The Tigers, by the way, broadcast board has begun. Doing a little men's basketball homework today. I would tell you to go to that Baylor game, though. That's going to be a really, really fun one. Noah Sewell, Oregon linebacker, one of 16 semifinalists for the 2021 Butkus Award. The Butkus Foundation announced that today. Been presented the nation's best linebacker since 1985, and, Noah Sewell is certainly in the conversation for best linebacker. 57 of his 69 tackles have come in the last 6 games. He's been really, really good. 2-time Pac-12 Freshman of the Week. Ranks 4th in the Pac-12 with 69 total tackles. Tied for the team lead in tackles 5 times. Noah Sewell also second on the team in both sacks with 3 and tackles for loss with 6.5. And wasn't done there, as for the Ducks, defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau has been selected as a semifinalist for the 2021 Chuck Bednarik Award, which honors the most outstanding defensive player in college football. Thibodeau, one of 18 semifinalists for that award, and one of 2 from the Pac-12. 3 finalists for the Bednarik Award will be announced on November 23rd, and then it will be given out during that big college football awards show on December 9th. Thibodeau, even though he has only now played in 2 complete football games, 2, he's tied for 4th in the Pac-12 with 7.5 tackles for loss and tied for 5th with 4 sacks. He is the 4th highest graded pass rusher nationally among edge defenders, according to Pro Football Focus, with a 92 rating. He has 27 total quarterback pressures, and I say all this again, this is only in 2 full games for Kayvon Thibodeau. Pretty amazing. 31 tackles for loss since the start of 2019. That is the most among all active Power 5 players for Kayvon Thibodeau. 31 tackles for loss since the start of that 2019 season. One of only 2 FBS players this season with at least 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble in a game. He's the first Oregon player since 2007. It was Nick Reed to record at least 9 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks in a game. I could go on and on with that scroll that you could read for Kayvon Thibodeau's achievements this year. He has been really, really good. Both he and Noah Sewell named semifinalists, I should say, and probably will be finalists for some pretty big-time awards. All right, let's go back and look at this Colorado game. We're going to hear from Mario Cristobal, the Oregon football head coach, in just a moment. The Ducks got out to a 21-0 lead. Talked about how they needed to start fast, needed to stop the run. Man, the Ducks did that. Byron Cardwell scored his first career touchdown to put the Ducks up by 2 scores. Anthony Brown found Troy Franklin on one of the better catches that you're going to see to put the Ducks up by 3 scores. Now, Colorado got things going a little bit with some chunk plays, particularly when Steve Stevens went down. And we do have some injury updates for you. Bear with us. Looks like it's mostly good news for the Ducks, which Mario Cristobal will talk about. And again, the Oregon offensive line had to rotate, talking about injuries. Alex Forsythe wasn't able to give it a go. Rotated around. TJ Bass playing left tackle. George Moore inside. Ducks are all over the place on the offensive line. Ryan Watt continuing to fill in at center, and the Ducks really, I thought, ran the ball well. Travis Dye was solid. Byron Cardwell, just those chunk plays, absolutely outstanding performance for Cardwell, to the tune of 7 carries for 127 yards and a touchdown. That's an 18.1 yard per carry average. Not too bad, huh? Travis Dye, 2 more touchdowns for him. And Anthony Brown, really, really good. 25 for 31, 307 yards, 3 touchdowns, 81% completion. Now, things maybe got a little bit closer than the Ducks would have liked as they put Ty Thompson in, had to reinsert some of those number 1 guys, including Anthony Brown. Ty Thompson threw an interception there. And you'll hear Joe Moorhead talking about that this week. That's a learning moment. Best competition that Ty Thompson's been in a game playing, at least except in like a spring game or an Oregon practice, in a game situation, and he's going to learn from that moment. One thing of note, too, Johnny Johnson III called for targeting on that one kickoff return, so he's out for the first half against Washington. Guys like Micah Pittman, Chris Hudson, Dante Thornton, they're going to have to be among those that will need to step up against Washington. And ultimately, the Ducks, though, when you score 31 points in the first half, you're doing something right. Now, if Travis Dye runs out of bounds there, I think that's a play that he'd probably like back. Maybe Oregon's able to get 6 instead of 3 there at the end of the half. But the Ducks scored every time they had the ball in the first half. And actually, the Ducks ended up scoring as the game continued and injuries continued to plague the Ducks. More on that in a second. Oregon actually scored on every single possession that Anthony Brown was in at quarterback for. I mean, that's efficiency. I don't care who you're playing. That's efficiency. And especially after the Ducks had a couple moments where touchdowns were taken away because Devin Williams got called for holding, negated an awesome touchdown run by Anthony Brown. The next play, Anthony Brown finds Devin Williams in the back of the end zone. At the time, put the Ducks up 45-14. I'll tell you what, Devin Williams has emerged as the go-to guy, hasn't he? We'll get to him in a second. Next Colorado drive, I want to stick on this injury point. Damon David got a little bit dinged up. Then Verone McKinley got a little bit dinged up. And next thing you know, Lucas Nolan has to step in, who took scout team reps last week, as Tim DeRuyter mentioned today, the Oregon defensive coordinator. And another fourth down conversion at that time made it 45-21 for Colorado. That was when Ty Thompson came in through that interception. Colorado got it back, ultimately scored. It was 45-29, and then the Ducks just recovered the onside kick and ran away with it. But that conversion for Colorado, that was one of two moments where the Ducks actually had a touchdown get erased by a penalty. Because after the Ducks recovered that onside kick, Anthony Brown got it back, drove and scored on a really nice fake, and then passed to DJ Johnson. On one of the wilder reviews I've ever seen, where it was confirmed that it was touched at the line of scrimmage, but it wasn't touched at the line of scrimmage, and we had to go back and forth. And, well, Jerry Allen's call of the moment was pretty perfect, because after all that happened, he just laughed. It was negated after that wild review process with an ineligible receiver downfield, but Seven McGee ended up scoring his first touchdown anyway. It was 52-29, and that's where it stood. Anthony Brown in the last 2 weeks has been absolutely awesome. You're going to hear the highlights in a second. 77.1% completion for Anthony Brown, 603 yards. The completion percentage has gone up like a rocket for Anthony Brown the last few weeks. I think that his development, it's cool to see. It was also awesome to have guys like Marcus Mariota, Hronis Grasu, Jake Reed, Steven Nagosic, a lot more back for homecoming. Of course, Satu Sabali, Sabrina Ionescu, Haley Cruz, Janie Reed were back as well, just to name a few. It was homecoming. I got to say, it was great to see all of those. Really, that Oregon royalty on the sideline. Some more notes in a second. First, here's how it sounded with Jerry Allen and Mike Jorgensen on the call as the Ducks took down Colorado 52-29.
Yeah, here comes the Harley, and here come the Ducks. And to throw, swing pass out to Dye to the right. Cut it up, gonna get there, yes! Touchdown, Travis Dye. Handed off to Cardwell, busted up the middle, he may be gone. Maybe, oh ain't no maybe about it. Touchdown Oregon. Byron Cardwell. Room right, two receivers each way, back to throw Brown. Little pressure, hit, but throws, and is caught for the touchdown. First of all, what a throw, and then what a catch by Troy Franklin. To the left, give it to Dye. Powers into the end zone without being touched. And the snap back to throw. Here's the screen set up to Dye. Good 140, downfield 50, speed and outside and out of bounds. And the snap and give it to him. He'll go right. Cardwell's got a lot of room. 20. 15, 10, 5-yard line and down. Third, this could be the option. Pitch it to Dye going right. He'll scroll in. Dye carries it in for a second touchdown. To the left side of the field, back to throw Brown. Three-man rush, has a lot of time. Going end zone, touchdown. How about you take one away from me? I'll give you one. Baby, snap. Give it to McGee, hit at the goal line. I don't know. He got there. They say he got there. Touchdown, Seven McGee. His first rushing touchdown.
Shout was also absolutely outstanding this week. Travis Dye was leading the way, channeling his inner Troy Dye. Ducks scored 50-plus points for the first time in a couple years, actually, since they beat USC in 2019, and the defense held Colorado to just 22 yards of total offense in the first quarter. That was the fast start that the Ducks wanted. And talking a little bit about Devin Williams, 14 catches for 242 yards and a touchdown over the last 3 games. I think Devin Williams has become the go-to guy if there is such a thing. And Anthony Brown, those 38 rushing yards also, 345 yards of total offense in addition to those passing numbers of over 300 yards. Matched his season high with 3 passing touchdowns and a ridiculous 80.6 completion percentage, a new career best, and the first Oregon quarterback to complete at least 80% of his passes since a guy named Justin Herbert did it a couple years ago. Anthony Brown, I think, has taken a big step forward. The young running backs were certainly great. Devin Williams was great. Anthony Brown has been great the last few weeks. And now we turn the page toward Washington, a 4:30 kickoff in Seattle on ABC, 10:30 pregame show for us on the Oregon Sports Network. When we come back, let's hear from the head man himself, Mario Cristobal, some injury updates after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. They can help save lives by not having play dates. That's right. By replacing get-togethers with virtual play dates and video chats, they can help slow the evil spread of germs. And if your superheroes do go outside, make sure they continue their superhero wing by staying 6 feet away from others to protect everyone in America land. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack. Let's hear from Mario Cristobal, starting with some injury updates and some other thoughts as the Ducks get ready to take on the Huskies at 4:30 on Saturday. Mario Cristobal brought to you by the William Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. Here's the coach.
Good afternoon, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Really proud of our guys. Improving in several areas and still having several areas to work on to get better. Appreciative of the fans that came out. Homecoming, good to see a lot of alumni there, all different sports, all different, fields of, out there in the world, in the working world, coming back and supporting our guys and being around. So, and then looking forward to a great challenge and a great opportunity this week as we travel to Seattle to play Washington.
Mario, I just wanted to update on Steve Stevens, Damon David, Jordan Happel, and Dante Manning.
Manning is good. You didn't ask about Forsythe, but Forsythe is good. Practice yesterday, full go. Jackson Powers Johnson is still day to day. Jordan Happel is full go. Steve Stevens is being reevaluated today. He's got a chance. You saw he hyperextended on film, but looks like he has a chance. And Damon David is also good to go.
Coach, you kind of alluded to this in your opening, but the team played pretty well against Colorado, but there's a lot left available that they can get better at. What are the areas that you kind of identified you'd like to focus on and improve over the next few weeks here?
I think the kicking game, we saw we had some coverage issues right there. I mean, they have a really good player. Brendan Rice is a great returner, a great receiver as well. And he certainly, he made some really good plays, and it's about discipline. It's about physicality at the point of attack. Some things that we really had excelled in earlier in the season did not show up. Ball placement's also part of that. Some of the things on the second quarter on defense we'd like to improve as well. Limit explosive plays, communication, making sure that whether you're on the second team or third team, when you're in there, your level of preparation needs to show up. So we got to do a better job as coaches preparing everybody across the board to play better. First down offense was really good. Third down had improved. There's a lot, and I could go on and on about all the things we need to improve upon. But, the list that we have put together is a priority list, and those are things we attack right away the moment we get in the building. Yesterday on Sunday, the day after the game, and it carries over till today and the rest of the week.
Hey, Coach, you're obviously entering a rivalry game. Just talk about just what are you telling your players this week as in preparing for Washington, especially considering they didn't play this opponent a year ago.
Well, I think the intensity of rivalry games take care of themselves. the important part is making sure that that we're investing in our preparation, practice, the way that we do everything, right? We have a 1-0 approach and a mentality for everything we do. And our plan is to stay the course and just improve our 1-0 every single week, our 1-0 processes, I should say, every single week. That's what works for us. And that's what we're focused on.
Yeah, Brian Cardwell had a really good game and feels like his reps the last couple of weeks have really gone up. Just your thoughts on just his improvement and just where you feel like he was really good on his runs last week against Colorado.
Well, the stuff that had been showing up in practice showed up in the game. Really patient. He understands how to set up his runs, how to read his blocks. He understands the intent of the play, what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it, why we're doing it that way. He understands 2-man, 3-man, 4-man surface, backside, front side, gap schemes, zone schemes. He gets it. He really does. And then he also improved a ton in his understanding of protections, his understanding of his responsibilities in the passing game. And the moment was not too big for him. Ball security was fairly good. We always work on that. It needs to get better all the time. And he ran with physicality, there was contact plus 2 or 3 yards. And it was difficult for the first guy to get him down. So really positive day for him. Big future for him here at Oregon.
We've talked to Coach a lot about just the offensive line and how well it's played the last couple of weeks. I wanted to ask you specifically about TJ Bass making the move to left tackle. I know that's not an easy position to play, but I don't want to say he's made it look easy to us, at least. What's kind of gone into that and kind of what progress have you seen there? And how has that maybe freed you up to rotate other players around comfortably with him occupying that spot so well?
Yeah, the offensive line here, we like to, think we do some really unique things to develop our guys. And we also look for matchups and we look for combinations. We don't disclose which is what or why we do certain things like that. But, you really want to find like what the chemistry, the synergy of your offensive line, how it works best when you're running a particular scheme. And TJ has been outstanding all year long. Credit Stephen Jones, who has really bounced around from position to position and has excelled at a really high level. One of our best players this last game. George Dawson, Ryan Walk has jumped all over Salah. Salah had to attend to, a family issue on Tuesday and wasn't able to be here for practice and was back immediately. And just took care of business and played a really good football game. So credit to a guy like him, who was able to handle, everything he needed to be successful in this game. So again, Coach Mario, he's the best in the country at doing that. We're not even anywhere close to being where we want to be or need to be, which is good. And our players acknowledge that. So we just got to get back to work. We just got to get better.
You have one of the best conversion rates on a third down in the FBS, but you will be facing the best third defense you've faced all season. How big of a difference of a barometer game will this be? And what would you say are the main challenges they pose?
Well, they got great players. They have a great scheme. They play hard, very physical, tough. They cover really well. They put pressure on the quarterback. They collapse a pocket from the inside. Their edges are really explosive and powerful. So they present a lot of challenges and they get you in difficult third down situations. Your success rate in 3 to 5 is a lot better than it is in 7 to 10. And typically a lot of times they have opponents in 7 and 10 plus. So credit to them for just playing really, really good defense, particularly third down defense. And we're looking forward to the opportunity.
Mario, when CJ went down, you'd said that it was really Travis's time. It had been his time before, but this was really his opportunity. In October, he averages over 21 touches a game and 136 yards, is one of only 2 players in the FBS to have the breakdown of receiving and rushing that he did in the month. Can you speak to just how he's actually delivered for you in this past month? And in terms of the receiving component of things beyond his skill set, do you think that actually helps take away some of the volume of hits that he would be taking ordinarily if those were all carries?
He is as valuable of a player as there is in the entire country for us. Guy's the heart and soul of our team, tremendous leader. And, those are big numbers and you can expect probably more because he's capable, he's ready, he's eager for it. And for our team to get better, guys like him will continue and have to continue playing at a high level. But he prepares for it. I mean, his pride and preparation, his ownership and the way he gets ready for each and every week, how he takes care of his body, how he prepares his mind, how he is always affecting in a positive way his teammates and their preparation as well. All that stuff comes into play in a big time way, particularly here as we enter, another challenging opportunity for us this Saturday.
We don't talk about him very much, but Trevin May has been getting like 20 snaps a game, grading out pretty well as far as I can tell. What's your guys' evaluation of Trevin and his contributions at this point?
Yeah, he's grown so much. I mean, you're talking about a guy that, everybody has their time. Some guys right away, they step foot on campus and they're able to get it. Other guys have to develop, and it doesn't matter. As long as you're on track and you finally, boom, you hit your stride and you go and you become, a contributor to the football team. It's certainly a big moment, and Trevin has reached that this year. He's worked relentlessly on his body, his physicality. Just in the weight room, he's been just off the charts. He's 260 plus pounds, very strong, heavy-handed, understands the game really well. I mean, always just digging into ways to try to improve. And he has made an impact since the beginning of the season. I mean, you've seen him from the times we were up in Columbus all the way to, most recently. He's always around the football. He sets the edges really well. Really, really smart. Seldomly does he ever have a mental bust. So really proud of him. And that's a guy that's just now scratching the surface. Like, it's all upside for him going forward. So really excited for Trevin.
That's pretty cool hearing about Trevin Mai, a guy who's had to step up and has done a nice job, Coach Cristobal says. We're going to hear more from the Oregon football head coach. 4:30 kickoff set for the Ducks and the Dogs on ABC. 2:30 pregame show for us on the Oregon Sports Network up in Seattle on Saturday. More of the weekly press conference with Coach Cristobal next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Exit Strategy, no matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, football is back! So consider this your official excuse for always putting football watching first, courtesy of Pepsi. That haircut appointment? Seeing the in-laws for the first time in ages.
It's been so long.
Nope, sorry, Susan, not if it's on Sunday. Long story short, after the year we've all had, we think you could use a little football watching. So crack open a Pepsi and cheer your football watching face off. With love, Pepsi. Made for football watching. That's what I like.
Dear Exit Strategy, no matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy.
What's your name?
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're in the Country Financial Studio. Let's hear more from Oregon football head coach Mario Cristobal as we continue to preview Oregon and Washington. And Coach met with the media just a little while ago, if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. Continuing with Coach Cristobal.
Obviously, the college football playoff rankings come out on Tuesday. I know you talk about the 1-0 process and blocking all the mental things out, extra things out. Just how important is that moving forward, especially trying to finish out strong the rest of the season?
Well, I think there's always going to be attention. There's going to be media. There's going to be hype, projections out there nonstop. And I think what you do is you take a step back and you make sure that you acknowledge that the players they'll come across that. They'll acknowledge that. And then you make it as simple as if you don't take care of your business on a day-by-day basis, and then a week-by-week basis, what does it matter? There will be no significance for anybody that doesn't focus on what they're supposed to take care of. In college football, every single week is a playoff week. It is. And I think that mentality and being focused on the main thing, one step at a time, has to be the course. That's the course that works for us. That's what we'll continue to do. If we ever feel that there's something in the way interfering with that, we'll snap ourselves back into it.
Just your thoughts, Mario, on the matchups, both sides of the ball, the line of scrimmage. They've got some probably second, I guess some guys will play at the next level as well. You guys do too. Just that matchup and just the importance of staying on schedule. Sure. Well, no, there'll be a lot of physical play. Certainly the line of scrimmage is every single year when these two teams get together. There's lots of great players on both sides, on both teams. Lots of respect, very competitive, tremendously intense, like it should be. The home crowds always do a great job, just bring a lot of energy and juice to this football game. It's what college football is all about. And all that stuff, again, is stuff that's on the side and the outside. It's going to be about making sure that the preparation, the focus, the attention to detail, the level of intensity as it relates to preparation is where all the focus has got to be on. And again, the great football team, lots of great players. Looking forward to the opportunity.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about how Byron Cardwell and Travis Dye maybe, present different difficulties for the defense and kind of how they create a 1-2 punch for your offense now?
Well, we think, a guy like Seven McGee and Trey Benson they're going to fix into that rotation as well. Those guys they're really good football players. They're different running styles, but they both can be physical. They both have explosive power. They both can make you miss, and they can both take it to the house. So they're good receivers out of the backfield as well, good in protection. So you're not limited. When they're in the game, your entire playbook is open, and you can do what you need to do as it relates to what you feel can be successful or help you be successful. So it's really good football players that are, again, make us, give us a chance every week to be successful.
Coach, just the last couple weeks, seems like you guys have done a good job of drawing offsides penalties on the opposing defense. I'm not going to ask you everything that goes into that, but what kind of are some of the, things that help you draw some of those penalties and just the benefit that has on a drive? Because Anthony's had some success throwing it on those, and obviously the 5 yards is helpful regardless.
Yeah, I don't think it's us. I think it's more, the other side. And I think it's been just the other side, just, maybe lost their focus for a little bit, but I don't think it's anything that we're doing. We're not doing anything really different. So credit to our offensive line hanging in there while the other side jumped, got a couple of free plays, but I don't think it's anything, earth shattering.
You're certainly quite familiar with a lot of their skill players on offense. Mario, the guys who are really carrying them, McGrew and Bynum and Otten. I know it's a different looking offense compared to the last time you played them, certainly, and you were preparing for them last year, but what makes them in particular, McGrew is so experienced at running back, or Otten and Bynum, again, guys who've been around for a long time, just such useful weapons for them on offense.
Yeah, experienced eyes. I mean, they've played a ton of football. They play against one of the top defenses in the country every single day in practice. There's a lot of value in that, so physicality is also a big part of when you develop a really good offense. And I think, when you watch them play, I know they ran for well over 200 yards this past game, but when games have been on the line, their quarterback and their receivers have stepped up and have moved the ball with ease, making explosive plays on numerous opponents. So they got a lot of balance in their offense. They do a great job with formations. They line up and with loaded sets and can pound the ball and get downhill and get you with play action, but their tight ends can stretch the field. They can block you and own the C gap, get on the perimeter, toss the ball out there and some of their bunch stuff. I mean, they do a lot. There's a lot to prepare for, and they execute at a really high level. So great challenge for an opportunity for our defense.
Defensively, Mario, I realize he's barely shown up in the box score, but ZTF is obviously one of the better edge rushers. I know he's gotten back the last couple of games. With Bowman out in particular, they've obviously had some injuries in the front seven, yet their defensive statistics and passing have still been superb the whole time, and they have some good corners. What do you see from ZTF in particular, and also in their ability to stop the passing game so well?
Yeah, he's back to form. I mean, he's one of the best players in the country. Explosive power, great get off, heavy-handed, very elusive as well. Great hands. I mean, technically and fundamentally just does a lot of stuff that presents issues for offensive linemen, not just in the passing game. People sometimes focus on that all the time. Yeah, He's setting edges in the run game. I mean, he's collapsing pockets, beating guys with speed, going speed of power, a lot of power, big, long, strong. He's a game wrecker, as well as your interior defensive linemen. I mean, they're guys up front, 330-pound plus guys that live in the backfield, destroy the A-gaps and cause things to bounce, to support players that come up and hit you and make some tackles for negative plays. So all in all, just an excellent defense.
Yeah, Coach, Camden Lewis has done well on the PATs and the field goals. Seems to be a little inconsistent on the kickoffs. He and Henry still competing every week, or is that something that he's still beating Henry on the kickoff?
Yes, sir. He is. He certainly hasn't been up to the standard the past couple of weeks. He still currently leads that. But we feel like the issue is something that's very correctable. He's been working on it hard, and we expect better results. We need to have better results there.
Brian Addison got in quite a bit and had his most production, Mario, but also seemed to be targeted quite a bit once he was in there, and Nolan as well. When you talk about getting some of these safeties back, what you see from Brian in a productive spot, and also we haven't really ever gotten into it with you, but just to speak to what's been a very challenging last year, but really a very long time for that young man in general off the field, but like on the field, what he did and the needs that you have at safety to make some corrections there.
Yeah, he's grown a lot. He had some really good moments in the game, some other ones that, I'm sure he wants back. We'd like to have back. And we're coaching him. We're coaching him hard. He's a really talented guy. And when he's on point, he has been really, really good. We think now have an entire week with him to hone in, because we had him swinging from a couple different positions to lock in on one position and then serve as a sub in another one. I think you're going to see a better version of him. But got a lot of faith in him, because in practice, he's one of those guys that really pops. He's got some really unique range, length, athletic ability, great hands, great balance and body control. And he makes contested catches. He used to do so as a wide receiver. So his eye discipline is improving. We got lost a couple times with it this past Saturday. I think we've got it corrected, and I think you'll see a really good version of BA this week.
Coach, I was just going to ask you to address Johnny Johnson's absence for the first half at Washington, just the challenges that may present one of your most veteran players, obviously in a tough environment.
No doubt. He's a guy that, I wish these rules were a little bit different, and don't have to agree with them, but have to abide by them. John will be ready to go second half. First half, we got guys that have been repping, have been prepping. Johnny's going to help and assist in that role to make sure those guys are ready, and he should be popping at the seam. So when the second half kickoff is on, that he's ready to roll. Won't have to come out of the game. He'll be well rested.
That's Mario Cristobal, the Oregon football head coach. Yeah, guys like Dante Thornton, Micah Pittman, Chris Hudson going to have to step up with Johnny Johnson out for that first half because of the targeting rule. When we come back, we're going to talk with Oregon soccer head coach Graeme Abel, the weekend that was and the week ahead. It's rivalry week, not just for football, but for soccer as well. Just different rival. The Beavs coming up next on Friday. We're going to talk with Graeme Abel next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey cheesy crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously. But as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the big Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack. He's Graeme Abel with us in the Country Financial Studio. Coach, it's good to see you. Good to see you. All right, let's begin. Washington State, true heartbreaker. That's how I'll describe it. And then Washington on Senior Day, that was a tough one. So this is the first time that you and I have had a conversation, actually, where I feel like it was a rough weekend for you guys. How'd the team handle that?
We spoke about it this morning, and, it's we've had this conversation many times, set pieces. So we have to clean it up on the defending side, and we need to continue to take advantage on the attacking side. And that's what hurt us this weekend. So you keep moving forward, and that's you know me, you've been around me long enough now to know whether we win the game or lose the game. There's always takeaways, and you've got to keep moving forward.
We'll talk about some of those takeaways. Coming up, the Ducks will play Oregon State. 7 o'clock, it's the regular season finale. 7 o'clock on Friday on Pac-12 Oregon. That's a big one. We'll get to that in a second. You talked about set pieces. So what's your process with your team now, Coach, when you go through film? Like, walk us through what are you talking about with your team when you give up a goal on a set piece like that? How do you improve from it?
You look at the breakdowns. You have a system in terms of the first phase, second phase, third phase, whatever it is. You have a system in play that you will look at, very similar to any other sports. Football, on the line. I don't know anything about football, but on the line and stuff like that.
You know some about football.
No, not really. I know the quarterback's going to throw the ball in the end zone. There you go. So
that's how you win the game.
That's how you win the game ultimately, right? No, so you go through your system, how it was broken down. Did people, performing their roles and responsibilities, and that's basically it from there. If you get your roles and responsibilities right, and you execute within those roles and responsibilities, 99 times out of 100 you defend the set play.
Are you to the point now with this team and just being around your squad now for a couple years, even though it was a different first year than we all anticipated? Like, when you're in those film sessions with your team, a lot of times are they kind of nodding and like they know what you're going to say before they even say it?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. There was a couple of times we've had video. It happened last year. It happened this year where I'm like, okay, you guys go through it, and they go bang, 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 and nail all the coaching points.
So that's got to be the most rewarding thing ever for a coach. You're like, okay, we're good.
They know, and any level of team I've worked with, typically once everyone understands and they know where the breakdown happened.
All right, so I have to ask you about this because I was befuddled, and I don't know if there's an explanation, but you had a goal in the Washington State game that got called off, or really didn't even get called in the first place. Can you? I know a lot of fans were curious about that. I was curious about it. What happened?
No idea.
Okay.
No, I think they assumed Eden had contact with the goalkeeper.
Okay.
Which, from my perspective, watching the video back, the centre back pushed Eden.
Okay, yeah.
And I think the goalkeeper had already dived. But, our kids have dealt with that type of adversity 3 or 4 times this season. And fair play to them because they've been able to keep going in games. And obviously we lost that game late, but it wasn't a deciding factor in terms of the mentality of our kids. So, they've dealt with those moments of adversity. We had the Baylor game, this incident, one against USC, but, fair play to our kids.
So, I feel like it's so easy for me, for fans, for everybody to always sit, and this is true in every sport, right? Like, it never comes down to one play, but sometimes it feels like it comes down to one play. That's kind of what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, I mean, it influences the game, right? If you go in collegiate soccer, you go 1-0 up, it's very hard to then close. It's the energy to get back into the game, and then once you're back into the game, you then got the energy to go win the game. Yeah. So the energy that it takes to get back into it is tough, and if you go 1-0 up, then you can start to manage the game a different way, and so in both those games, well, especially the Washington State game, if we'd have gone 1-0 up, changed the balance of the game a little bit.
Is it like that's got to be a stat that is out there, right? Like, is it a high percentage if you go up 1-0, you're going to win the game?
I don't know if it is a stat or not. It's something that's talked about within the coaching community. I mean, maybe someone will disprove us with an actual stat. I'm not sure, but
research project. Here we go.
Research project
Here we
out
go.
there. Yeah, I know we've got some real good stat guys on campus that have done some stuff for us, so that's one for those guys. But again, we walk away from the weekend. I mean, created, I think, double the amount of chances that Washington did yesterday in the game, and again we haven't converted. So we spoke about that this morning as well, because as a coach, you worry when you're not creating the chances. When you're creating the chances, you're happy about it, but now we have to execute.
It's interesting. I've had this conversation with Matt Ulmer, Oregon volleyball head coach, before, that volleyball is such a unique sport where you could actually outscore your opponent and lose, right? Because you could win a set 25-10, and then you could end up losing the next 3 sets by 2 points. You actually outscored them, and you lose the match. Is the comparison kind of true in soccer, where you could create 10 chances, but if the other team just converts their 1-for-1 chance, that's the difference?
Well, if you go back to the very first game of the season, the Fresno State game, I think we created 8 chances, scored 5 goals. And so if you're at 63% conversion rate or something there, and that's the conversion rate you've got to look at in terms of, are you probably looking, if you're 33% and above than that, then you're doing well. And past few games we haven't been at that, so we need to start moving towards that direction.
I do want to talk to you a little bit about your seniors, especially because it's rivalry weekend coming up again here. Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, joining us. Curran, Deasco, Taylor, Warmdahl, Palmer, Hardy, all during a pregame ceremony.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool to see. And then I do want to ask you in particular about Hannah Taylor, not on that 2021 roster, this 2021 roster after medically retiring, but it was really cool that you guys had her there and honored her as well. I thought that was awesome.
No, she was so big for us last season in terms of just the type of person that she is on. She's a great player as well. She was a really good player for us. I'm gutted we didn't have her. I think I was joking around with her the other day. I said I think I got to coach you for 28 minutes. And so we lost her for the rest of the season last year, and then obviously she didn't return this year because she had to medically retire. So it was great to have her back, have her family back, and honor her, because I know she's loved in this department as well, just as the type of kid that she is. So it was really nice to honor her as well.
Yeah, I thought that was a great moment. And those of you who are wondering, Chai Cortez, Cass Elmore, Zoe Hasenauer, the other seniors for the Ducks have all announced their intention to take advantage of that extra year of eligibility, right? So that's cool, looking ahead a little bit.
Yeah, listen, we're ecstatic to have all 3 of them back and continue their development as well. So it'll be great.
Senior Day is always, I feel like, kind of bittersweet, right? It really is a bittersweet thing, but for this year, it's odd, right? Because you guys still have a big regular season game coming up we're going to talk about, and then hopefully a few more after that.
Yeah. I mean, our senior class, everything that they've done for the program, that they've done for me in terms of when we got here as a coaching staff, they bought in right away. There wasn't any fighting the process or anything like that. They bought in right away, and they, they've really gotten after it and been such a help in terms of moving this thing in the right direction. And that's why this next game is so important. Let's get it done. Let's take care of what we can control, and and we'll see what happens next Monday.
Well, so there's the big question, right? So 7:00 against Oregon State. That is a huge opportunity for your team. That's in front of you.
It is. It's the only thing that we can control, and we have a game. We know if we perform to our very best, then we feel as though we've got a good chance at winning the game. And so it's getting ourselves into the right place physically and mentally, so we can perform in that game.
So here's the nitty gritty. You're 9-4-5. You're 4-4-2 in conference.
Yep.
So where are we? Where's everybody sitting right now? I mean, what's the breakdown as you head into the regular season?
So Washington ahead of us by I think 1 point. They play Washington State, so they've got everyone's got their rivalry game. Colorado below us, Cal below us. So we take care of business. We're guaranteed in 6th. I think we finished 7th or 8th last season, so that'll be a jump up again. Hopefully we can finish top 5. I think that'd be a solid season for us in terms of where we are at right now. I feel as though we've got a good resume. The Texas win, the UCLA on the road, those ties, even Colorado top 50. So that's a solid tie on the road. Ties are obviously okay in our sport. So we feel as though we've got a solid resume and have had a solid season. So I think we've got a good case for being in that last 64.
And now it's a chance for an exclamation point on that resume, right?
Yeah.
To get a big win.
Yeah. I mean, Oregon State have had a really good year. I mean, what their head coach has done coming in late and turning those guys around. I mean, I think they were in the top 10 of the RPI for a long time until they kind of hit conference play. So really good program. Coach has done a heck of a job. We've got good players. So it's gonna be a tough game. Be a really good game.
Keys to victory at 7:00 on Friday.
It's about us. It's about coming out and doing what we do. We've got to move the ball with pace. We've got to put pressure on their back line. You know, I know I talk about it a lot, but we've got to spend time with their defending third, our attacking third, force set pieces out of them, execute on set pieces on the attacking side, the defending side, and it's about doing what we do to the very best of our ability.
And then next Monday is going to be instant reaction.
It will be
on the show, won't it?
It will be, and you know, we've spoken before. It's great that this group of kids is this late into the season playing for something, and that's new learning for them as well as we move forward. And I've told the team they're taking things on the chin for the program right now. The teams later down the line will benefit from.
You know, I love that awesome connection, especially like it was just homecoming for Oregon football. Yeah. And I mean those sorts of connections, man. That's how you build a program, right?
It is, and you know we're in a good spot.
He's Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach. 7:00 on Pac-12 Oregon. The Ducks on the road against the Beavs on Friday. Hey, thanks for the time.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Best of luck. Go get them, and I look forward to catching up with you next week.
Perfect.
All right, we're going to get a timeout when we come back. News and notes from around Oregon athletics, including baseball alumni weekend. Oregon softball's added a game to their fall schedule. Going to hit some diamond sports next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. My thanks, as always, to Graeme Abel for taking some time to join us. The Ducks with a big one. Look, I asked him because he's the expert, but when I look at things right now, even after a rough weekend for Oregon soccer with a couple losses, their resume is such that if they beat Oregon State, I think they're in the tournament for the first time in program history, and we're probably talking about one of the better teams that Oregon soccer's ever had, and it's in his second year. In the first year, they didn't even play in the fall. He had to wait to play in the spring. I mean, what a story this has been for Oregon soccer. But they took it on the chin a little bit there. And I will say I was befuddled as to why the goal wasn't called a goal for Oregon soccer especially after looking at the replay against Washington State. And then the Ducks lost on a set piece in the 88th, 89th minute, and that was a little bit of a gut check, a heartbreaker, I think. And then they just didn't perform well on senior day against Washington. Now a chance to bounce back throughout the week. And I think that game is our Toyota Women's Sports Schedule spotlight. Oregon State, 7 o'clock. I'm really looking forward to it. In fact, it's one of those where it's in Corvallis, and I would have loved to go up there and watch that Oregon soccer team take on the Beavs. It's on Pac-12 Oregon for those of you who can't make the trek up to Corvallis. But, man, we're going to be on the road up in Seattle getting ready for Oregon football on Friday night. And this is going to be one of those where I will be enjoying a dinner huddled around my iPad watching that matchup, because this is a big-time matchup. Your Toyota Women's Sports Schedule Spotlight, Toyota Let's Go Places, Friday, 7 o'clock. Now time for your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Cafe Yum restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington. Menu's always available, cafeyum.com, and I just took a pause there because now I'm hungry. I just thought about Cafe Yum. Volleyball split the weekend. They won Sunday in 5 sets over Colorado, and Ducks needed it. After Taylor Borup has been dealing with some injuries, you can tell it really changes the way that the Ducks operate. We're going to talk with Matt Ulmer about that tomorrow as they split the weekend, and they're sitting at number 18 in the polls here on November 1st. Women's soccer, mentioned it, dropped a game to Washington on Sunday. Regular season finale now Friday against the Beavers. Baseball won its annual alumni game 9-2. It was awesome to see a lot of those alums back in town. Jake Reed, Steven Nagosic were honored on the field for those of you who are in attendance at Autzen Stadium. Absolutely great to have those guys back, and cool to see Mark Wasikowski's current Ducks win the alumni game 9-2. Softball also won a couple matchups with the College of the Siskiyous this weekend. Had 1 6-for-6 performance from a freshman in Paige Sinicki. Pretty cool to see. The Oregon softball program has also added a game to their exhibition schedule for the fall. They will host Southern Oregon Wednesday at 4:30 at Jane Sanders Stadium. It'll be a 10-inning game for the final tune-up, at least the final scheduled tune-up for the fall ball schedule. Game will be live streamed on the Oregon live stream. You can find that via GoDucks.com, and student radio station KWVA will be on the call. The Voices of Oregon softball. Looking forward to tuning in for that coming up on Wednesday. Ducks and Raiders were originally scheduled to play actually back on October 24th, but that game was postponed due to rain, and admission to Wednesday's game is free. Come on out to the Jane. It all gets started at 4:30 at Jane Sanders Stadium with gates opening 30 minutes prior to first pitch. That's 4 o'clock. Elsewhere for Oregon football, mentioned at the start of the show, Kayvon Thibodeau has been selected as a semifinalist for the Chuck Bednarik Award, which honors the most outstanding defensive player in college football. And Noah Sewell has been named a semifinalist for the 2021 Butkus Award, best linebacker in college football. Ducks doing pretty good, huh? 4:30 kickoff for Oregon at Washington on ABC on Saturday. Next week, 7:30 kickoff for the Ducks against the Cougars on ESPN at Autzen Stadium. Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Menus cafeyum.com. Tomorrow, Deputy Athletic Director Eric Rodell joins us to kick off the show. See you then.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.